Welcome to Maths for All. I'm Aisling Flynn. This is Number Patterns 1.1 Visual Patterns. And we're going to look at a repeating pattern to begin with. So here is a repeating pattern of geometric shapes. There we have it, so study that for a moment. And you're asked, what are the next two shapes? Okay, so if we examine it closely, you can see that the basic pattern is a series of four shapes: square, circle, triangle, rectangle, and then it repeats. Square, circle, triangle, rectangle. So what would be the next two shapes? Well, the set of four would start again, so the next two shapes would be square and circle. So that's the answer to question 1. List the positions of the first three circles. Is there a pattern? So where are the circles? So in position number 2, position number 6, and position number 10. Okay, so there are the numbers 2, 6, 10. Okay, is there a pattern? I think so. So starting at 2, it's every fourth number. So 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, 10 plus 4, the next one would be at 14, and so on. Which shape forms the pattern 3, 7, and so on? So in position 3, we have a triangle. In 7, we have another triangle. So you can imagine in 11, there will be another triangle. So the answer is triangle. Now, what is the 21st shape? So there's a number of ways you can go about this. Firstly, I've started with squares because that's the first shape. And I put the numbers of the positions of the squares here. 1, 5, 9, 13. So you're adding 4 every time. And you can see that 21 is part of that sequence. Okay, so the 21st shape is square. Now, you could have also said, well, 5 full patterns, because 4 times 5 makes 20. So what would be the first shape after 20? So after a full pattern, the first shape that comes next is a square. Okay. Now, what is the 37th shape? So again, if you look down, you see, yes, the number 37 is in the list of square positions. Okay, but also you could say that 9 times 4, so 9 full patterns makes 36. Will bring you to 9 full patterns. That's 36, meaning you have one more shape. So you'd be starting a pattern again with one shape, and the first shape would be square. So there's ways and means of doing all these questions, and none is incorrect or correct so long as you get the correct answer. Okay. Now, if the 61st shape is a square, what is the 67th shape? So what always comes after the square? And that is, of course, the circle. So that's a repeating pattern, and you would use the number of shapes in the pattern, the number 4 in this case, to help you answer the questions. Okay, so they all come in a series of 4, and there's 4 spaces between a shape and when that same shape occurs again. Okay. Okay, so here's a pattern, and we're asked, going from left to right, what color are the next 14 squares? So we have to examine it. All right, so let's look here. Sometimes saying things out loud helps. We've 1 red, 1 green, 1 red, 2 green, 1 red, 3 green, 1 red, 4 green. So it appears that there's always 1 red, but look at the greens, they're increasing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think the next one will be 1 red, yes, and following that we have 5 green, then 1 red, 6 green, 1 red, and continuing. It will continue like that. Okay, so sometimes if there's 2 different shapes or 2 different colors, you may have to consider them separately, what's happening with each one. Okay? Now, this is more typical of an exam question. All right, here you're asked to copy and complete each table. Okay, so we have a pattern of squares. We have their position in the sequence. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and we have what's called the term, so the value of that pattern at that position, we call it the term. Okay, so position 1, 1 box or 1 square. Position 2, there are 4. Position 3, there you can count them, there are 7. Okay, so what's happening each time? Well, what I see is I see an extra box, extra square, added to the left and to the right and also to the top. Okay, so it appears there are 3 legs to the shape and you have an extra square being added to each one each time. Okay, so left, right and top, that means you're adding 3 more each time. So let's look at the next one. Yes, okay, so that's how I would draw it. Put an extra box on the end of each arm of the shape. That's position 4. So we've added 3 more, so there are 10 squares in that one. And the next one, an extra box again goes on the end of each arm. So that's position 5. There are 3 extra boxes this time, so it's 13. Okay, let's look at the blue patterns. So we've got this kind of C shape. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is examine what's happening each time, and then we'll have to continue it on. Okay, so starting with the basic C shape here, that's position 1. There are 5 squares. Okay, so what's different about the second one? So I can see there's an extra box inserted here. Okay, there are 2 here now where there was 1 before. Okay, so there's 1 added in the middle, and the top arm and the bottom arm is now 3 instead of 2. So there's 1 added on each arm. Okay, so there's 1 added in the middle and there's 1 at the end of each arm. So that's 3 extra squares in total. Okay, so position 2 has 5 plus 3, it has 8 squares. You can count them if you need to. Okay, so let's check that we've got the pattern by seeing does the same thing happen over here. So we had 2 in the middle here, now we have 3, so 1 extra. We had 3 on top, now we have 4, and the same on the bottom. So yes, there's 3 extra squares here, so that brings the 8 up to 11. In the fourth one, yeah, we put an extra square in the middle, so now there's 4 there, and there's 5 along the top and the bottom. So 11 plus 3, there should be 14 in total there. And the last one, yes, there's an extra one in the middle and an extra one on each arm. So position 5, the value is 17 boxes. So it's going up in 3s as well. Okay, so how to do these? You examine what is changing each time, how many extra are there, where are they being added to. Okay. Now, here's some words. A sequence is a set of terms in a definite order where the terms are gotten by some rule. Each individual part of a sequence is called a term. The first term in the sequence can be called T1 or sometimes A. Okay, so this was the pattern we had on the previous slide. And you can see that the terms are the values, how many boxes. So T1 equals 1, there's 1 box. T2 equals 4. T3 is 7. T4 is 10. And T5 is 13. So the sequence is 1, 4, 7, 10, 13. So that's the pattern. They are in a definite order. And the rule you get the numbers are to start with 1, add 3 each time. So that's the sequence being a set of terms in a definite order where the terms are gotten by some rule. The rule is to add 3 every time. Okay, you do it. Check you understand the lesson by doing the quiz called Number Patterns 1.1 Visual Patterns. Now some of these are quite challenging. Take a piece of paper and draw the next part of the pattern, okay? And practice what you've learned by doing the written exercises, Number Patterns 1.1 Visual Patterns. Here's a glossary